So it looks like Tommy Robinson has been banned from Facebook and Instagram. And this isn't a surprise considering the way that Facebook has been running recently and how authoritarian they become. They're probably one of the worst companies with censorship out there. Then it's probably, I don't know, Twitter. And then, surprisingly, it's probably YouTube. They're some of the better ones out there, but still they're getting pretty bad too. But this was foreseeable, and hopefully Tommy Robinson is working on some type of alternative, some type of social media alternative, because I know he has probably a decent amount of cash, and I'm sure a lot of his fans and supporters would definitely fund some type of alternative media platform, because Facebook, let's face it, it is dying. Like I don't know, I don't think they're getting a lot of new younger users. The same with Twitter, they're also not getting a lot of new younger viewers. So this opens up the possibility for competition and for people to create new alternatives that are not as restrictive as Facebook and Twitter. And hopefully Tommy would move over to maybe Minds, because if he went over there and something like that, then he could definitely make that site a lot more popular than it is. And I know he said he doesn't want to go to Gab because it's full of racists and stuff, which I can kind of understand why he would say that, because the media has effectively smeared Gab to make it out to be a far right wing site full of racists, which there are a lot of National Socialists on there. I can definitely admit a little bit more than on Twitter, but not hugely disproportionately more, right? But yeah, there's going to be a lot more woke people on Gab, and a lot of normies are going to perceive that as being really racist. But I can understand also why he disassociates from it, considering all the scrutiny that he is already under, and how him just, oh, I'm joining Gab, guys, would look really bad. It would make it that much easier for the media in the UK, who's already trying their very best to discredit him, like he released in that BBC documentary he just did a couple days ago. That would just make it much easier for them to frame him as being a far right wing white nationalist, being on Gab, because that is what that site is being associated with. And he's not a white nationalist or anything like that, so he does not want to be portrayed as that. So I don't really like how he says, like, oh, I don't want to go on there because they're full of racists. But like I said, I can understand why he's doing his best to disassociate from that, so then they have less of a reason or less of an excuse to say he's racist, right? But there's also Minds he could potentially go to. I'm on Minds. You can go in the description below. You can sub to me there, or Gab, because I'm not allowed on Twitter. I'm permanently banned from there as well. But and I don't use Facebook. I don't use Instagram. And there's new things the kids are using, like, I don't know, TikTok or something like that. Maybe start using that as well to reach that generation. But we do need competition. We do need somebody to create an alternative media platform, because we can try to rely on the government to create regulations for our benefit to make sure these companies treat everybody equally, but that would probably take quite a few years to implement. Can you really trust the government, first of all, for doing this, making sure it's equal? There's a lot of problems that come up with that as well, and there's a lot of problems that come up with trying to create competitors, because as we see, people who do try to create a competition, they lose their Stripe accounts, they lose their PayPals, they lose a lot of different, or their site on the internet, like the domain name they can't use. So it's pretty much we have to create a whole new infrastructure to battle against it, right? We have to create a whole new internet. But maybe that is what it's going to have to fucking take. And the more people that keep getting banned from large platforms like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, the more incentive people are going to have to create some type of alternative platform, the more incentive we're going to have to put our resources together. We're going to have to put our money where our mouth is. Because a lot of these companies like Twitter and whatnot, we're used to it all being free. We're used to it being so intuitive already and good and useful that we don't want to, and a lot of people, they don't want to invest in an alternative. But if we don't, then we're going to keep giving people like Jack Dorsey, like Mark Zuckerberg, like these people a monopoly of power over us, and they can decide, they can unperson us from the internet like they did with Alex Jones. And now that other guy from InfoWars, Joe Biggs, his bank account, Chase Bank in America, is no longer going to be serving him. So now he has to find a new bank account. So these people are trying their very best to silence people like Tommy Robinson, to get them to shut up, to stop talking about the interests of the regular people in Europe, in the UK, in Canada, in America, right? Because he transcends just that country. A lot of people in all different countries, in Canada and America, and that they all support Tommy Robinson because of really who he is fighting for. Because all Western countries, we all understand that our politicians, that our media is actively fighting against us, and there are very few people speaking out and willing to put themselves at risk and danger every single day. And people can say he's a Zionist shill, he's a this because of that, or whatever he said. But how many of you guys are willing to go to prison, or willing to risk yourselves going to prison and getting stabbed, having acid thrown on your face all the time, having your kids threatened daily, having to hide them, having to make sure nobody knows where you're always watching your back. And that is a true thing that this guy has to go through. Now he has to go through people censoring him even more. He's one of the most popular people on Facebook. And now, oh no, or in the UK, I'm pretty sure he's more popular than like the BBC and these people. So clearly he is a threat to the establishment, and they need to shut him up by any means necessary. And they're not going to do it themselves, because they know that would create riots, that would invigorate, that would awaken the sleeping giant that has been sleeping for so long. Look at those people when he was put in prison. There was people climbing up on fences, acting insane, being like, release Tommy, release Tommy. People, they got a view of that, and they're like, oh, okay, fuck, these people really fucking like this guy. Yeah, because it's finally, we need leaders in society. It'd be great if everybody was their own leader and didn't need other people to get inspiration from, to get strength from. But that's not how the world works. That's not how people work. They need people to look at, to see for inspiration. He brings that inspiration. He gives that inspiration to people to that are willing to now jump on fences, climb over them to try to get him, to bail him out of jail, right? Like, if the government did anything to him just by themselves, like they came and shot him, then yeah, that wouldn't be good. So they would rather do it indirectly, have somebody else do it, or have an organization ban him because of his hateful rhetoric that is causing division and hate. But it's very subjective. That they're not applying the same standards to everybody. He's just speaking about what is happening to the rape of little white girls in the UK that nobody was willing to speak about, and this is driving up hatred and resentment and whatnot towards the Muslim community. Yeah, it probably will a little bit, because nothing is being done about it, and these people are being given a slap on the wrist and being, oh, well, you're free to go. You know, a lot of the cops there, they look the other way. They participated in it. They didn't give a shit. He's one of the only people who gave a shit. And people are going to fucking fight and die for this guy, right? Like, he gives hope to people who have no hope. Doesn't mean he's a perfect individual, and I agree with everything he's done and everything he's ever said, but he is putting himself on the line. He is putting himself at risk of violence daily, and that is something to appreciate. And that's okay if he makes money and stuff. I know a lot of people think like, oh, look, they make a lot of money, that means automatically they're bad and this and that. And it's like, no, like, you know, not everybody is the tip of the spear, and the tip of the spear sometimes needs to be more polished, needs to be stronger than the rest of the spear. The rest needs to be strong, but it needs to be a little bit better, and that's okay if they have more resources in order to get their message out, in order to, you know, live okay. Hey, somebody like that who puts himself at risk all the time, they deserve to have a fucking good life. They deserve to have some money. Do we want our leaders, our hero type people, to live in squalor and to live like peasants? Just oh, well, you're a peasant and, you know, you don't ask for any super chats or something like that, whatever, or any donations, then you're a good person. But if you, as soon as you ask for a little bit because you need to feed your fucking family, then, oh, you're a bad person. And, you know, he deserves pretty much everything he's getting. You know, not the negative stuff, but I'm saying, like, you know, the money and all that other stuff. That's good. You want people to be rewarded for risking their lives, for risking their name, their livelihood. You know, like, you do these things, and then have people condemn you for taking a little bit of money or something like that, and be like, fuck you, are you serious? You come out of your anonymous shell and start doing something instead of just criticizing all the time. But, you know, this is shitty, but at the same time, like I said, it can be used in a good way. He can, you know, create more competition, create some type of new alternative media that we could be using. Facebook is dying anyways. Go to Minds, subscribe to them. Go to Gab as well, subscribe to them anyways. And if he creates something, subscribe to that, because the more competition, the better. We want to get rid of this monopoly on social media, so we can't just be unpersoned in the future. But that's all I pretty much had to say about this. If you like my content, subscribe and have a good day. See ya.